You've been silent for too long. Too long have you stood in the shadows, your voice buried under layers of doubt, fear, and the weight of a world that seems to tell you over and over again that you don't matter. They've silenced you, not with chains or bars, but with whispers that echo through your mind, telling you you're not enough, that your words will never carry weight. But I'm here to tell you that your silence isn't your fault. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a response to a world that wanted you to remain invisible, unheard, and small. They told you to stay quiet, told you to fit in, told you to shrink. They told you that your voice, your story, your truth wasn't worth the space it occupied. But I know better. You've carried the weight of their expectations, their criticisms, and their doubts like a heavy shroud draped over your soul. And yet you're still standing. You felt the sting of rejection, the cold silence when you dared to speak up. Your voice has been stifled, your ideas dismissed, and your worth questioned. But understand this, you have never been invisible. You've been ignored, yes. You've been dismissed, yes. But your presence has always been there, looming, even when they refused to see it. The villains in your story are not just the people who tried to shut you down, but the insidious doubts and fears that were planted deep within you. They're the ones telling you that your dreams are too big, your voice too loud. They're the ones whispering that you'll never be good enough, that the world isn't made for people like you. They're the ones who make you question whether you should even try anymore. They're the ones who want to see you fall into the trap of silence and submission, because when you're silent, you're controllable. When you're silent, you're easy to ignore. But I see you, and more importantly, it's time for you to see yourself. I know you've been hurt. I know the world has felt like an endless fight, and every step forward has been met with resistance. I know that sometimes it feels like no one is listening, and that all your struggles have been for nothing. But I promise you, your story has not been in vain. Your pain has not been wasted. There is power in everything you've endured, in every tear you've shed, in every word you've held back, because your silence, though heavy, is not the end. It's the beginning of something far greater than you can imagine. It's time for you to wake up. You've been living in the dark, thinking you were alone, but you are not. Your journey is just beginning. What they never told you is that your silence is not weakness. It's the very thing that makes your voice so powerful. They thought you'd stay quiet forever. They thought they could break you, keep you down, erase you. But what they didn't realize is that silence is not defeat. It's the calm before the storm. And now, that storm is coming. Your words, once hidden, are about to tear through the silence like a hurricane. Your voice, once drowned out, will now rise like thunder, shaking everything in its path. They thought you'd stay silent, but now your words are the ones that will shake their world. You've been invisible, yes, but no more. This is your moment. This is the beginning of your transformation. You are not powerless. You are not invisible. You are everything they feared you would become. You are a force, and it's time for the world to hear you roar. The silence you've been carrying is not a silence of peace. It's a silence of suffocation, a burden that has crushed your spirit and forced your voice into submission. You've lived under the weight of expectations from others, from society, from the world around you that demanded you conform, blend in, and never speak too loudly. They told you to fit into a mold, to wear a mask, to pretend to be something you're not. And somewhere along the way, you believed them. You began to internalize their words, their judgments, and their criticisms. You became trapped in the illusion that your true self wasn't enough, that the world couldn't handle your unfiltered voice. And with every moment you stayed silent, that burden grew heavier. Every unspoken word, every suppressed thought, every feeling that you kept inside added another layer of weight, pushing you deeper into a hole of quiet despair. It's as if the very air you breathe is saturated with the pressure to be something you're not, perfectly muted, perfectly compliant, perfectly invisible. You know this feeling, don't you? The fog that clouds your mind, the heavy shadows that seem to follow you wherever you go. It's the weight of doubt pressing down on your chest, suffocating your dreams before they have a chance to take flight. It's the constant whisper in your ear that tells you you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes to make an impact, that your voice will never matter in the grand scheme of things. It's the fear of judgment that shackles you, preventing you from standing tall and speaking out. That fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being wrong, is like an invisible hand around your throat, slowly choking the life out of everything you could become. It makes you question your every move, your every word, until the very thought of speaking up feels like a risk too great to take. The darkness of doubt becomes your constant companion, and you can't remember what it feels like to be free from its grip. And then there are the villains in your story, the ones who didn't just make you doubt yourself, but actively worked to keep you down. The system, the toxic relationships, the naysayers, the critics. They are the ones who belittled you, who mocked your aspirations, who told you to stay in your lane and keep your opinions to yourself. They are the ones who made you believe that your dreams were too big, that your ideas were too radical, that your voice was too much. They are the ones who made you feel like you were too loud, too bold, too different. And because they made you feel small, you began to shrink. You began to believe that your voice was nothing but noise in a world that couldn't possibly appreciate it. Every time you spoke up, they tore you down. Every time you tried to stand your ground, they pushed you back into the shadows. Every time you tried to be yourself, they shamed you into silence. This is the reality you've lived in for far too long. It's a reality where your thoughts, your feelings, and your dreams are constantly dismissed or ignored, where your words are never enough to make a difference, and where the very act of speaking your truth feels like a crime. You've been crushed by the weight of your own silence, and now it feels like there's no way out. You've tried to speak, tried to stand tall, tried to make your voice heard, but each time, it feels like the walls around you grow higher, the air grows thinner, and you are left gasping for breath, wondering if anyone will ever hear you. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. You are not alone in this. You are not the only one who's felt the suffocating grip of silence, the crushing weight of external pressure, the sting of rejection. Every single person in this world has been in that dark place at one point or another. We all know what it's like to feel like an outcast, to feel like we don't belong, to feel like we're too different, too strange, too broken. But that doesn't mean we should stay there. It doesn't mean we should accept the lies that have been fed to us, that we are powerless, that we don't matter. It doesn't mean we should keep quiet just to keep the peace, just to avoid rocking the boat. No, this is not the end of your story. This is just the beginning. Your struggles are real, your pain is valid, and your silence has been hard-earned. But it has not been the end. It is merely the soil from which your voice will grow, your strength will emerge, and your power will be born. You are not defined by the struggles you've faced. You are defined by what you do next. You may feel defeated now, but that defeat is not permanent. The struggle you're in is not the end. It's the beginning of your transformation, the moment when you stop accepting the darkness and start fighting for the light. You are not alone in this fight. You never were. And together we will find the strength to break free. There comes a moment in every battle, a fleeting yet undeniable moment, when the fog begins to lift, when clarity cuts through the chaos like a beam of light. This is that moment for you. I know you've been blinded by the weight of your silence, trapped in a cycle of doubt and fear that's held you back for far too long. But now, it's time to look around and see the world differently. You've been conditioned to believe that silence was your only choice, that it was safer to stay hidden, to stay small, to stay quiet. But silence is not a refuge, it's a prison. And today, I want you to understand something. Silence is not virtue. It is the weapon that the world has used against you. And for too long, you have allowed it to bind you. to keep you from your true power. What would happen if you stopped listening to those doubts? What if you stopped fearing the judgment of those who would rather see you remain invisible? What if you took a breath, looked fear in the eye and said, "No more"? It's not an easy thing to do, I know. The fear of being wrong, the fear of being rejected, the fear of standing out. It all feels so much more comfortable than the courage it takes to speak your truth. But the truth is this: the very thing that has held you back is the one thing that can propel you forward. The more you silence yourself, the more you feed into the lies that have kept you small, and the more you listen to those voices, the quieter your inner fire becomes. But today, right now, is the day you reclaim it. Do you feel it? That fire, the one that's been smoldering inside you, waiting for the right moment to erupt. It's been there all along. You've just been too afraid to feed it, too afraid to let it burn. But I'm telling you, that fire is stronger than you think. It has been growing in the depths of your soul, waiting for the spark of your own courage to ignite it. Now is the time to let it burn. You have more power within you than you've been willing to acknowledge. The strength you've been searching for, the confidence you've been waiting for, has always been there. It's not a distant dream. It's a reality that's waiting for you to claim it. For too long, you've been told that your voice doesn't matter, that your opinions aren't worth hearing, that your thoughts are insignificant. But those are lies. Your voice is your power. Your words are your weapon. And the moment you realize this, everything changes. Your voice has always had the ability to make waves, to create ripples that turn into tidal waves of change. But you've been afraid to speak. You've been silenced by fear, by insecurity, by the idea that the world wouldn't understand. But I'm here to tell you that the world asterisk needs asterisk to hear you. The world asterisk needs asterisk your words, your truth, your perspective. There is power in what you have to say. Your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, they matter. You matter. You are not meant to be invisible. You are not meant to shrink away in the background, to blend in with the noise. You were born to stand out, to make your mark on this world, to be a force that cannot be ignored. Your voice is the key to your freedom. Your words are the key to unlocking the life you deserve. Stop letting fear silence you. Stop letting doubt keep you in the shadows. Your voice has the ability to break through walls, to shatter ceilings, to change the course of your life. You've always had this power within you. It's just been waiting for you to awaken it. So what will you do with this newfound clarity? What will you do with the realization that your silence was never a virtue, that it was never a choice? It was a tool of control, a way to keep you small, to keep you quiet. Now that you see the truth, now that you've recognized the power within you, the question is no longer, can I speak up? The question is, what will I do with the power of my words? Because when you begin to speak, when you begin to reclaim your voice, you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your destiny. You are the author of your own story. And your story, your words, will echo through the world long after the silence has faded away. This is your time, the time for you to rise, the time for you to reclaim your voice and speak the truth that has been waiting to be heard. You are stronger than you know. Your voice is more powerful than you can imagine. And once you begin to use it, once you start speaking your truth, the world will have no choice but to listen. Fear is not your enemy. It is the fuel that powers your rise. It will never fully disappear. Fear is an inevitable companion, a shadow that follows you no matter how brightly you burn. But fear no longer has to be your prison. You've been taught to fear fear itself, to let it cripple you, to let it keep you silent. But I am here to tell you, fear is not a wall to stop you. It is a fire to propel you. The moment you face that fear, the moment you stare it in the eye and say, "You will not control me," that's when you begin to harness its power. Fear, when wielded correctly, is the force that will fuel the fire of your words. You may never be entirely free of fear, but now you know how to use it. You my friend, are a phoenix, and right now, you are in the flames, burning away the silence, the doubt, the fear, and everything that has tried to hold you back. Like the phoenix, you are rising from the ashes of your past self, reborn into something stronger, something more powerful. The fire has tested you. It has tried to consume you, to destroy you, to break you into nothingness. But here you are, alive, reborn, ready to spread your wings. This is your rebirth. The silence you once lived in has become your ashes, and from them you will rise, stronger, bolder, and more determined than ever before. You are no longer the person who cowers in the corner, afraid to speak. You are the person who stands tall, who burns with the intensity of 1,000 suns, who cannot be ignored. Do you feel it? The power coursing through you. It's in your words. It's in your voice. Your truth, once buried under layers of fear and doubt, is now a force that shakes the very foundations of what oppresses you. When you speak, the walls tremble. When you act, the earth shakes beneath you. Your words, your truth, spoken with conviction, are no longer whispers in the dark. They are roars that demand to be heard. With each word you speak, you crack the chains that have kept you bound. Here, with every sentence you tear down the barriers that once separated you from your dreams. Your truth has power. Your truth has strength. And now, you know how to use it. The realization is clear now. Your silence was never a choice. It was a reaction to a world that told you to be quiet, to stay in your place, to hide your truth. It was the weight of others' expectations, the fear of rejection, the pressure of conformity that made you believe your voice didn't matter. But now you see, your silence was never a choice. It was the only thing you could do to survive in a world that tried to keep you down. Now that you know the truth, you can break free. You are not a victim of your circumstances anymore. You are the creator of your own reality. You no longer have to hide, to shrink, to remain silent. You are free, and with that freedom comes the power to make a difference. Your voice is not just for you. It is for those who need to hear it the most. There are others out there, still trapped in the darkness you once inhabited, still held captive by the same fears and doubts that once controlled you. Your words, your story, your truth, they are the light that will guide them out of the shadows. Your voice is a weapon. It is a weapon that will break the chains of silence, of oppression, of fear. When you speak, when you rise up, you give permission for others to do the same. You become the beacon of hope for those who feel like they don't have the courage to speak their truth. And when you stand tall, when you are unapologetically you become the force that changes everything. This is your awakening. This is your moment of transformation. The silence, the fear, the doubt, they no longer have power over you. Your voice, your words, your truth, they are the weapons that will change your life and the lives of those around you. The phoenix has risen, and now nothing can stand in your way. The power of words is something that cannot be underestimated. Words are not mere sounds or symbols. They are forces that have the ability to shape reality, to bend the world to your will. Words are the architects of your destiny. They have the power to transform not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. When spoken with conviction, with authenticity, words become the sharpest sword, the strongest shield, the loudest call for change. Every time you speak your truth, you create ripples that grow into waves, shaking the very foundations of what once held you back. Words have the power to uplift, to destroy, to build, to break. And now, with your voice unchained, you will see how far those words can take you. Your voice is no longer a whisper in the dark. For too long, you were silent, thinking your words had no power. But now, you know the truth. Your voice is not small. It is not weak. It is a force that shakes everything it touches. You've awakened to the power that has always resided within you, and now you will see how your words reverberate through the world. They are no longer ignored, no longer dismissed. With every word you speak, you change the narrative. You are no longer a passive participant in your story. You are the author, the director, the creator of your own fate. You have the ability to rewrite everything. The world that once tried to silence you is now forced to listen, to acknowledge, to respect. Your voice is the force that breaks the silence, that brings light to the darkness, that reshapes the world in your image. The change is undeniable. You can see it, feel it, and experience it. You, the person who once cowered in the shadows, are now standing in the spotlight, your words echoing through the air like a thunderclap. Those who once doubted you now stand in awe of your power. They watch as you rise, as you speak with confidence and clarity, as you shatter the limits that once confined you. They see the transformation that has taken place within you, and they cannot deny the truth that you now stand as a force to be reckoned with. The person they once tried to silence is now the person they fear to ignore. You've become the very thing they tried to hold back, the unstoppable force that demands to be heard. But the power doesn't stop there. This is your moment of complete control. You are no longer at the mercy of anyone or anything. You are in control of your destiny now. The chains that once held you down have been broken, and now you hold the key to your future. Every step you take, every word you speak, is yours to command. You are no longer subject to the whims of others. You are the one who decides your path. You are the one who chooses your direction. The power you hold is limitless, and it's up to you to wield it as you see fit. The world is your canvas, and your words are the brushstrokes that will paint your masterpiece. Now, it's time for you to take action. It's time for you to stand tall, to speak your truth, and to use your words to dismantle the walls that have kept you quiet for so long. Your voice is the key to unlocking the life you deserve. It is the weapon that will destroy the barriers that stand in your way, whether those barriers are external or internal. Don't let anyone or anything stop you from speaking your truth. Don't let fear or doubt silence you. Stand tall and proud, and let your voice be heard. The world is waiting for you to speak, for you to rise, for you to claim what is rightfully yours. This is your time. This is your moment. You have the power to change everything. Your words are no longer just words. They are your legacy. What will you do with that power? Will you continue to let the world dictate your silence, or will you rise up and speak your truth? The choice is yours, and now, more than ever, you have everything you need to make that choice with confidence. Your words will shape the future, and your voice will be the catalyst for change. Step into your power. Speak your truth. The world is waiting. You are more than what you have been told. You are more than the fears, the doubts, the limitations that have been placed upon you. Deep within you burns a fire, an unwavering, unyielding force that is waiting to be unleashed. It has always been there, lying dormant beneath the layers of silence and fear. But now, you know what you are capable of. You are a force of nature. You are the storm that cannot be calmed, the flame that cannot be extinguished. Every struggle you've faced, every obstacle you've overcome, has only made you stronger. The world tried to break you, but it failed. And now, nothing can stop you. The path ahead of you is yours to choose. The future you are walking into is one where you are the master of your own destiny. It is a future where your voice is not just heard, but celebrated. A future where your words have the power to shape the world, to create change, to inspire others to rise with you. Your voice is no longer something to be feared or silenced. It is the key to unlocking the life you were always meant to live. With every word you speak, you create your reality. You carve your place in the world, and nothing will ever be able to take that away from you. The journey you are on is just beginning, and the future you are stepping into is brighter, bolder, and more powerful than anything you have ever imagined. Your voice is the future, and that future is waiting for you to claim it. But now, the question is, will you take that first step? Will you let fear hold you back? Or will you rise to meet the world with everything you've got? You've found your power. You've found your voice. Now it's time to use it. The world is waiting for you to speak your truth, to stand tall, and to claim what is rightfully yours. You no longer have to shrink, no longer have to hide in the shadows. It's time to step into the light and let your voice be heard. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the right moment. The time is now. The world is waiting for the fire inside you to ignite. The world is waiting for your words to break through the silence. This is your moment. This is your time to rise. The fire within you cannot be contained any longer. You are not defined by the silence of your past, by the fears of your mind, or by the doubts of others. You are defined by the strength in your voice, by the power in your words. You are defined by your ability to stand tall and speak the truth that has been buried for too long. You have everything you need. The fire is within you. The strength is within you. And the words, they have always been within you. All that is left is for you to speak them. Speak your truth. Speak it loud. Speak it with everything you have. The world will hear you. And when it does, it will never be the same. So stand tall. Let your voice rise like a wave crashing against the shore. Let it roar through the silence and shatter the walls of doubt and fear. This is your time to rise. This is your time to speak. Let your voice be the spark that sets the world on fire. Let your words shake the earth beneath your feet, and let them echo in the hearts of those who need to hear them the most. The world is waiting. Your time is now.